You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers and their quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 62, and I am Church of the Game Grinder, and as always, joined by my awesome co-host, Justin, aka Cardboard Zero.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm kind of sad because it's not Halloween anymore.
Oh.
I know. Even though I didn't do anything cool or special, I just did adult things like come home and hand out candy and wish I was those kids getting the candy, but I'm happy to be here. I really am. We got another great show lined up for you folks, for you eager listeners out there in podcast land. We're going to talk about some news coming from the creator of Undertale. We got a handy-dandy little device coming out from that's branded Intellivision, but we'll get more into that. Some Sony stuff, some what may or may be perceived to be a little taboo in the Bubsy land. And just some jibber-jabbering that me and Church are going to do like we always do. But, like always, without faltering, each week or every time we do this, I always ask, Church buddy, how you been and what have you been up to?
I have been excellent. I do want to give just a general podcast shout-out. I always kind of forget until I see the reminder that the Halloween episode is always the yearly anniversary of the podcast. The podcast has now been going for 3 years. So
Rock on.
Happy 3 years to the podcast.
Happy 3 years.
Yeah. Then, besides that, put up another video or a new video. There's been a kind of a trend with people talking about their 5 most expensive NES games. Mm-hmm. And it was mostly a tagged deal, but sometimes people don't tag people or throw out the invite and say, hey, just make a video even if you don't get tagged. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do just that. Because it's always interesting to see, like, I don't collect for value. You buy the games and then you kind of forget. You have a general ballpark of like what it might be worth. But it's always interesting to kind of actually see what your games are valued at.
Oh, for sure.
So that was a fun video. If anybody hasn't seen it, I would say check it out. I threw couple little gags in there, trying some different video editing techniques and whatnot. Then I mentioned last episode that I was at the end of Dragon Quest XI, and indeed I was at the end of Dragon Quest XI, and I have completed the game. I actually beat it I think it was the following day that we recorded last time. So I don't have a whole lot to add to what I've already said. Fantastic game. Unfortunately, I haven't played a whole lot of JRPGs since like 2002, so I don't have a whole lot to gauge by. But it's one, like I kind of said when I posted about it initially when I beat it, that it's kind of like potentially like maybe top 5, definitely top 10 anime or not animes, JRPGs I've played. Maybe top 10, top 5, possibly.
Impressive, especially for, how long you've been talking about it. That's kind of like your first go around in like in one of the newer Dragon Quests.
Yeah, and it was such a solid, enjoyable experience. Like, complaints aside about music, like everything else about the game, like, my favorite JRPGs are your traditional JRPGs, the stuff from like the Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, and this like really just felt like that. It's not bogged down by trying to do goofy or like high-end graphics or like crazy battles, like kind of like some of the recent Final Fantasies, or like look at some of the other JRPGs that they're more like action games than your turn-based. I enjoyed the turn-based, but just like so many twists and turns in the story that I just didn't expect, like repeatedly, and some pretty neat story moments that for what you'd kind of assume to be like pretty straightforward. A lot of people might say even like generic. I think it did some really interesting things and just had a blast.
Well, good.
So looking forward to try to get to 8 in some.
Like, don't you say it. Don't you say it.
Yeah. So it might be a while, but I'm definitely stoked to play more.
Yeah, we had talked about this like I think last week when I was like I wouldn't even do it to you as a friend. I wouldn't even be like, well, if you enjoyed 11, now it's time to go play 8. But it's like that is so much Dragon Quest, and it's like, no, you need a break. Like I know you've been waiting for Red Dead. I know you've been dying to Tomb Raider.
Yes.
A lot of things have been on back burner while you played that. How many hours did you put in on it total?
Yeah, so 105 hours.
Wow.
And typically, like, thinking about most games that I've played in the last few years that were super long, like I'm talking like 60+ hour games.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times those games, I just kind of, and I think I might have said this before, is like I'm just ready for them to be finished.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still enjoying it, but I'm like, okay, I'm starting to do the same thing and whatnot. Where I honestly didn't really feel that with Dragon Quest XI. Actually, some of my like more slump moments were earlier in the game, where it's just like kind of getting going and nothing like too wild going on. But 105 hours, I was like, oh, okay, the game's over. Oh, all right, I guess I'm gonna move on. Like I could have put more time into it if it's more story. I didn't do everything. I did like all the side quests available in the game. I did all those.
Okay.
There was some like I didn't hunt down sets, and there was like little achievements and stuff you can unlock, stuff like that. I didn't get all the coins that you find, the star coins or whatever.
You mean mini medals?
Yes, sorry, mini medals. Wow.
Okay, I was like, those are like, I mean, we'll get to my part here, but I was like, there's a new star coin now?
Yeah. But no, I mean, for anybody who's digs JRPGs, like, I think it's a must play. So enough about me talking about Dragon Quest. But then, as you'd mentioned, I was dying for Red Dead 2. And of course I got Red Dead 2 and I'm loving it. I've seen some people kind of say, oh, it's just a cowboy simulator. And in many aspects, kinda, I can see that. There's a lot of mechanics that you don't necessarily have to do, like hunting. But they throw in like other little things, like if you don't have your character eat food, after a while you start to get skinny and stuff, and
Okay.
your facial hair will grow and your hair will grow long. So if you don't like shave like every once in a while, you get like a big beard and stuff, and just lots of like just in-depth things that just kind of make the world seem more real. I'm sure a lot of people are playing it right now too, so I won't go too much on that. I don't really have much to add compared to all the praise that's already gotten, but just I love the world. I like these open world games where I can kind of like, and Rockstar and Bethesda do it really well, where they have just like random things happen when you're exploring the world. Like GTA 5 had, and Red Dead, like they'd have stranger events, like just some random person doing a thing, and it might just be a little conversation, or it might lead into some weird side quest or goofy situations. Like there's a couple videos going around right now of a guy like trying to change a horseshoe, and the horse like bucks him and kills him, and it's kind of funny because like a ragdoll. And then like some person was going to start a quest with this random woman, and as soon as she starts talking, just a random deer just comes running out of the woods, like rams into her, and because of the collision she dies. And the deer runs off, and the guy didn't get to do the little quest. Like just fun stuff like that. That's the stuff that really gets me engaged. It's like one of the things I loved about Red Dead 1, GTA 5, Fallouts and whatnot. So yeah, having a blast. I can't really say, I'm not sure how long I am. There's not like an hour counter, but I got like 10, 15 hours in already or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess enough about me. What have you been up to?
Well, last week I was house sitting for a friend while him and his wife went on vacation for a week and watched their house and their dog. So homework and stuff, but don't worry, it wasn't all boring. Played a little more Capcom, beat 'em up, just kind of packing along in that, whatever. But then Friday was a good day because the Symphony of the Night Rondo of Blood remaster or like upgrade came out. So I'm almost at the end of the first castle. Like I love that game so much.
Nice.
I love Symphony of the Night. And
does it seem like is the like upgrade for fitting 1080? Is it noticeable? Like whoa, this looks great.
Certain things do. I wouldn't say the overall experience. Like it looks like it's kind of like watching a PS1 game get the smooth option on the PS3, but just a little bit better than that. Like they just smoothed up all the jagginess. But otherwise than that, like, and it's in that like weird mode, like the Super Game Boy.
Oh yeah.
How it like those big black borders, so it's trying to keep it in that 4:3 aspect. So I was kind of disappointed about that they didn't really like spruce it up and like let it be a whole, let the image stretch to the full size of the screen while maintaining its integrity. But it's kind of weird though, because I'll admit I'm being a bitch and using the luck code, and it still works. But this game is noticeably, this version, because it's the PSP port, which got a little bit of tweaking from the original PS1 version. I'm noticing it's noticeably harder. Harder. Like
actually, what's the luck cheat?
When you start the game, you can put in a password. So like when you beat the game, you can put in Richter and play Richter's quest.
Right.
Or you can put in Axe Armor and be an Axe Armor monster. You put in this particular code and it gives you 99 luck, and it starts you off with a lapis lazuli, which gives you an extra 20 luck.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I actually never used that, but now that you mention it, yeah, I remember.
So it just gives you it helps you with monster item drops.
Yes.
So certain things drop off mobs, so you have a better chance of getting better equipment right off the bat. But like I was just like, okay, this game's enjoyable, but it's like the first boss kicked my ass for like an hour. I was like,
really?
I don't remember these guys being this hard. So it's been an interesting experience so far, but I mean, it's still enjoyable. It's Symphony of the Night, love it. I'll take it any which way I can. Sure. So
awesome.
And then like I was telling you briefly before we started that the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius app that I play on my phone got a Valkyrie profile crossover, and so I think in the near future I might start a little Valkyrie profile here in a little bit.
Sweet.
So otherwise than that, there was something else I dabbled in for a little bit. I mean, obviously I've been putzing around with Dragon Quest. Not nearly as hardcore as you, but I'm also, I'm doing that stupid thing where I'm spreading myself too thin over too many games.
Sure.
But to kind of add, I was listening at work the other day. I was on YouTube, and GameSpot had this interesting retrospective where they do like the history of games, they call it. And they just put one out for Castlevania, so it was actually really interesting.
Oh yeah, I had that like queued up and totally forgot about that video.
So I watched that, and I also watched the Persona / Shin Megami Tensei.
Yes.
So I watched that, and I learned a lot about I own every one of them that you can in America, and I yet to play any of them. So I was like, I might. There's a lot of things coming on deck for the old cardboard here. So
yes.
It's getting there. It's getting there. I'll eventually learn to not be on the internet so much and play these games that I've spent hardcore money on. So
yeah.
One day, folks.
I'd probably save myself like an hour at least a day if I like. And I'm not even like usually when I'm just like scrolling through social media. Like I'm not even like really doing anything.
Mm.
If I just like chilled out a little bit more, that'd give me like an extra hour just to do other stuff. But whatever.
I mean, I will admit, I'm like, I kind of wish I never would have ever learned of MMOs, because I want to be like you and just be like, hey, I have all these great games, I should play them. Nah, I'll just go to comfort food. But I've been, like I say, I'll probably put in a little time on Rondo here once I finish up with Symphony of the Night. And even though that game is ridiculously hard, but
I'm actually really curious about that now, even more so.
Curious about what?
The difficulty in Symphony.
Have you never played Rondo Blood?
Yeah, I played Rondo. I did a review of it a couple years ago on my channel. But you said the Symphony was noticeably harder. Like,
I mean, it's not to the point of impossible, but I mean, like, I've just noticed like a lot of mobs are taking a lot more hits than they used to. I'm like, I don't remember this being this like hard in the PlayStation version, which I've beaten probably over 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm noticing difficulty. I was like, wow, okay. So cool. I don't know what they did with the PSP version, but because I have that PSP version where it's the, you can unlock the Rondo Blood, or from Rondo Blood, or they call it Dracula X, I believe, if I remember correctly.
It was the Dracula X Chronicles, and
thank you.
It's a 3D. It's like a 2.5D version of Rondo, which you can unlock original Rondo and the Saturn, or it's the PSP version of Symphony of the Night.
Yes, I was gonna say, because we have yet to get an American localization of the Saturn version, which just.
So does Requiem have Maria?
Nope. Nope. It's literally it's the PSP version, so we're stuck with
I thought
that
the PSP version had Maria.
Nope.
Are you positive on that?
From what even the retrospective from GameSpot even said, like, nope, only the Saturn version had it. So
God damn it.
I was kind of. Plus, it had a couple extra areas too.
Yeah, the secret garden or something. It's like, why?
They just don't like us.
Yeah, apparently. Bummer.
So, but otherwise than that, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Right on.
Watched a bunch of horror movies.
Yes. Yeah, I that's a must. Always a must.
Mm-hmm. So I watched a lot of the Halloween series, a couple of the Friday the 13th. So your standard comfort Halloween food. I play it safe if you guys haven't noticed.
Right on. So
that's me.
Then let's we'll move into the retro game highlight. Last time, what did you talk about?
Jumping Flash.
Yes, you did. I totally forgot.
You don't ever listen to me. Thankfully, our loyal listeners do.
Yes, but that was because we were talking about the PS1 Classic. So this week, I thought I'd kind of give a little love to the Sega Genesis, because it's a system that I kind of neglect more than I should, even though I play some games here once in a while. But a fun game that I really never hear people talk about, not often. I've heard some, so I don't want to say hidden gem or anything. It's not like an amazing game, but Skitchin.
Interesting.
Are you familiar with Skitchin?
I've heard of this. I want my brain's like, this. Why do you know this?
So essentially, Skitchin is Road Rash, but you're dudes in inline skates.
That's right. Yeah.
You hang on to bumpers of cars to like go fast, and then you can like beat up the other skaters and stuff. Like if you like Road Rash, I mean, I don't see how you wouldn't like Skitchin unless you like really dislike inline skaters.
You just have like a weird obsession hate with like inline skates. You're like, no,
they killed my parents.
Something ridiculous like that.
But yeah, it's a fun game, relatively cheap. Especially kind of being like a quote unquote sports game. So I'd definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't. It's fun. You can play a multiplayer as well.
Nice.
So Yes. So then let's talk about some news stuff.
Ooh, news.
Yes. So one that I'm pretty hyped about, but I don't really have a lot of information to share because I kind of am avoiding spoilers. But there is a game that was released called Deltarune, which is made by the guy who made Undertale, Toby Fox. Essentially, a couple days ago, the day before Halloween, the Undertale Twitter account started posting all these like weird messages, like check back in 24 hours, and actually, sorry, I had this pulled up and I closed it, so I'm just pulling it up again real quick so I can kind of give, like, it was like, after all, you and we have both been waiting such a very long time, and then like, is quite exciting. Now, show yourself, Deltarune. Like, just these weird tweets. And then there's the link to the site. It's a free download. Like I said, I haven't gleaned a lot of information just because I'm avoiding spoilers. Toby Fox actually asked people on the website to download to wait at least 24 hours before talking about it to kind of like give everybody else the experience. So free download, from what I understand, it's about a 3-hour long game. I've seen people mentioning a chapter thing, so maybe this is like the first part of a potential series. Also know that Toby Fox uploaded the soundtrack, which is a 40-track album, which is pretty impressive for a 3-hour game. I just kind of checked out a couple songs real quick because I really, really enjoyed what he did with Undertale, and music sounds pretty great. So if you liked Undertale, check it out. Unfortunately, I think it's only PC. It's not available for other like consoles or anything. It's just a download. It's an exe file. He actually provides some like instructions. It's kind of like almost like meta story thing, like, or just how he words it to try to like make it more of like an experience other than download, program, and install. And yeah, so check it out. I will be able to tell everybody a little bit more about it next time, but I'm pretty stoked because I freaking love Undertale.
I can't remember. Did you like Undertale? I can't remember.
A little bit. Did a video review. If anybody hasn't seen it, would shameless self promotion when I can for my reviews.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
So then a couple other game announcements that I just wanted to touch on. The follow-up to the follow-up of a game that nobody asks for and everybody questioned why. Bubsy is back with a new game. Now, we laugh because that's what most people are like, why is there a new Bubsy game? Last year we had Bubsy the Woolies Strike Back, which was a new Bubsy game. It was actually made by Accolade, who the studio was purchased something like with a French company, and the Accolade made the Gianna Sisters, which I haven't played, but I hear is a really good platformer. And actually, Bubsy the Woolies Strike Back kind of shares some similar qualities, so I kind of see why they decided to go forward with Bubsy. And despite it being really short, especially if you just like, I'm not doing anything but going to the right, like you can beat the game in like an hour, or if you actually like, try to do the level objectives, it can be like a 3-4 hour game. But it was fine. I didn't think the game was bad by any means. Soundtrack was pretty enjoyable. So here we go, another Bubsy game. This time Bubsy Paws on Fire. And I'm not sure what this is being released on, but it looks, at first when I was watching the trailer, I was like, oh wow, this actually looks pretty neat. It has kind of like your standard Bubsy level, and then there's like some I kind of think like Sonic Sonic 2 secret level where you're kind of running down a half pipe.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
Stuff like
the bonus levels.
Yeah. And they showed a couple other like kind of mixed up things for the usual formula. And then I noticed that at no point in this trailer when they're showing like these levels and stuff was Bubsy ever stopped or going to the left. And then I deduced that the game is an endless runner, which is essentially what it sounds like. Is a game where you're constantly moving right and you mostly are like jumping and dodging, dodge, dive, duck, dip, dive, dodge kind of
You
stuff.
can dodge a wrench.
And that honestly, that was kind of disappointing. Not that I have beef with like the runner games. Just I usually don't play those games. I've only actually played one, and I was kind of like, as a killing some time on my smartphone. But I'll be curious to see what platforms this comes out on. It does. I mean, it looks like they put some effort into it. The music that they played sounds like the same composer, and the music seems pretty decent. So hey, I'm all for supporting what I view to be a very harshly judged game series. I mean, mostly, a lot of people never played them, and then of course AVGN did the Bubsy 3D video, and then suddenly all Bubsy was horrible. The terrible games. And I've always disagreed because I randomly picked up the Bubsy 1 and 2 way back in the day at it's like a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or something. I had like a $5 Super Nintendo game sale. Pick those up, and I actually enjoyed them. Even my stepmom played Bubsy. So once I started hearing everybody hating on it, I was like, whoa, okay. Yes, it's kind of same thing.
It's like a Christopher Walken moment. Whoa, what's the problem here?
So, yeah.
Kind of stopped you. I didn't expect you to. I didn't think you'd think that was that funny, but I'll take it.
Anybody who could do a halfway decent Christopher Walken impression, I didn't know.
The Bubsy game. It's out of here.
Oh man, Christopher Walken's the best. So new Bubsy game. I'm sure everybody is super excited, but
oh yeah,
I'll be interested.
And if they're not, they should be.
Yes. But one game that I would say everybody should be getting excited for is today they put out a trailer for Medieval Remake. Medieval was a PlayStation 1 game, kind of like a 3D beat 'em up ish action adventure game, I guess, kind of like Spyro in a way.
I'm trying to think of what another good example I think of what they were like is what was that? It played off Ghost and Goblins, but they put it on the PS1. What were those? Maximos, yeah. Doesn't it play like Maximo?
Yeah, it's like a isometric kind of
third person.
Yeah, run around, beat up dudes, collect stuff. Pretty enjoyable game. I never beat it. I only played it a little bit myself. One of my friends, actually, a good friend of mine, you know of his existence. He has a now pretty much defunct YouTube channel, Artificial Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is familiar with him. He's been a real friend of mine, very long time. He was kind of like an OG long play, or not. I wouldn't say like long play, but like
let's play
kind of person, like OG style, like no commentary. Mostly like intros, boss battles, or like end credit kind of stuff. But yeah, he absolutely loved Medieval back in the day. He's like, oh man, you gotta check this out. So checked it out, and for whatever reason, I never ended up finishing it. But remake looks really great. It's the same game, but like when they say remake, like the graphics are like completely overhauled. Looks really great actually. So that is pretty neat.
I like how some of these companies are like digging down and like choosing some of these more obscure games that you wouldn't think, like who would think to remaster that or kind of remake it. Like that's really cool. Because it was an enjoyable game. Like I didn't play a lot of it myself either, but I did enjoy what I did play of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually, it's a game that it's in some way it's always seemed to have like I always come across somebody mentioning it like every once in a while. It's definitely not a forgotten game, but like some of the more like kind of like I wouldn't necessarily even say die hard, but like some of the people who like really like delved into the PlayStation 1 like a lot of times gives Medieval mention. So a lot of people have been hoping for a remake as well. So that is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And then I guess another kind of revisited thing, and I'm sure some of you have heard about this, maybe you haven't, but there is another, essentially, I can't even say a retro console, more of a new video game console in the works, and that is the Intellivision Amico.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So essentially, this is a new gaming console. It's being led or headed by Tommy Tallarico, who's known for some of the video game soundtracks he's done. I
just love that name, Tommy Tallarico.
And I guess when I say he's done music for video games, I should probably be able to give some examples. I always forget, but then when people are like, "Oh yeah," but he's done stuff like Terminator, Aladdin, Seventh Guest, Sonic games, Earthworm Jim, Metroid Prime.
Ooh, yeah,
he's been involved in a lot of stuff over the years. If anybody is familiar with, there's a YouTube channel, Dongled. He does a series called "Dude, You Haven't Played That Game Yet." He has a podcast, Pixel Tunes Radio. It's now XVGM Radio, but he's done multiple episodes on Tommy Tallarico music, so recommend checking that out if you want to get a little bit more familiar. But most recently, he's more known for the video games live concerts, which I've never seen myself, but I hear they are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he just performs live music with it says National Symphony Orchestra. I was just gonna say bunch of orchestras. But yeah, so he's heading this project. It's they're kind of trying to make like they're advertising it as like a family console, kind of like they're almost like marketing like sort of like I get a vibe kind of like the Wii, like they're kind of cute for the people who were really into the Wii. It has like wireless controllers that almost kind of look like smartphones. And kind of their main pitch for what we can expect on the console at launch anyways is going to be re-envisioned Intellivision games. So they're like remaking a lot of classic Intellivision games. What that means exactly, I don't know, because they don't have that info. But then they also mentioned that they're going to be doing some re-envisioned like Atari games as well. They're talking about having everything pretty much platform exclusive. So these games apparently won't be available anywhere else. And they're also going to have developers making games exclusively for the system.
That's really cool.
It doesn't sound like it'll be cart-based or disc-based or anything. I think it's all going to be like digital downloads. So, it's more of a modern styled console, so it will have internet connectivity, and I'm sure they'll have like UIs and stuff. And they're saying most games are going to be like somewhere in like the $3 to $5 range. So kind of think like apps, like game apps and stuff like that.
I just really hope this isn't going in the way of what was that little system that was the
Ouya?
The Ouya, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people saying, it's the next Ouya.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, the Ouya, that was mostly just streaming games, though. I
But
believe.
it was the same premise though. This is going to be an exclusive system. You're going to have original developers, yada yada yada.
Yep.
I hope they're not trying to put all their eggs in one basket by putting the word Intellivision in it and going, see, come on.
Yes. I mean, there's definitely some nostalgia angle to this, but it's not like blatant. Like I said, they're remastering the Intellivision games. Like I'm sure they'll probably offer the original as well. But I don't know. I think there's some potential. Like, of course, they don't have a lot of information right now. They just kind of put out the pitch. What I will say is a huge like thumbs up is this is not a crowd-funded project. So
okay.
that right there gives it a lot more validity, because here's an actual product that has been invested in, not by people hoping for a dream, but there's actually there's going to be money involved. So I'm sure the investors with this project are in it to win it. So I think that gives it a lot more hope than say something like the Atari VCS that was completely crowdfunded. I think the Ouya was actually crowdfunded too. Maybe I'm wrong on that one.
I think so. Yeah, because I think people were getting like, if you chipped in, you got like a free system if you chipped in so much. But
yeah,
I hope they're in it to win it, because I hope they don't choose to lose it.
Yes, true that.
Sorry, I'm just like, he rhymed. I want to rhyme too.
There you go. So yeah, I think it's kind of neat. I'm interested to see more. There's a lot of it's easy to kind of jump on these systems and tear them apart with some of the things that have happened recently. The controversy with the Atari AVS, and then of course the Coleco Chameleon. But like I said, I think the issues lie in them being like these half-baked crowdfunded ideas, and this is not crowdfunded. It's backed by someone with a very, very well credible reputation. Tom Tallarico seems pretty legit. Seems like he loves video games, so that I think says something more than just some guy who hasn't been around video games for 25 years and is all of a sudden, hey, I'm making a console, kind of thing.
Well, we can only hope not.
So yeah, I mean,
I new things, if they work out, are always great. Like you can't have too many video. I mean, well, you can, but I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say you can't.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I'm anything video games, whether it's a game, a system, whatever. Like, I want it to be awesome. I want to be able to enjoy it. Personally, I that's what I hope every game would be made to cater towards me, but it's not. But even if I don't decide that I'm going to get the Amico, I would hope that the people that do think it's awesome, because I want it all to be awesome.
Well, I mean, and like I say, it's something that when it comes out, I see good things about it, yada yada yada. Then I'll be like, you know what? It looks good enough. It looks a safe bet. It looks something I enjoy. I'll definitely put in on it. It just comes down to like, do you want to be a risk taker and be one of the first people and possibly get burned? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, if it looks cool, I'll definitely put in on it.
Yeah, and it's a ways out still. Like I gotta imagine it's probably gonna be a couple years before we actually get like a potential release date. So there's a lot that can happen in that amount of time. Then again, with kind of these retro revivals and continuing our previous conversation regarding the Sony PlayStation 1 Classic, Sony is finally put out the full list of 20 games that will be released. And there was much debate to be had all across the internet. Like, holy cow.
I don't know if you call it debate or whining because their favorite game wasn't put on there, but
yeah, I mean, one or the other.
I'm being mean, yes, but it's just like
there was a lot of people
some of the games people thought were going to be on there were like, are you really?
Yes.
Sony's going to put up that kind of money for licensing? Get out of here.
Yeah, right. I think to some regards, maybe some people just don't really kind of think in those terms. Like, licensing difficulties. One common one that I heard was people were like, if this doesn't include Tony Hawk, what the hell are they doing? Well, the big problem with Tony Hawk is like that's all that game is just license after license. The music, the skaters, the brands, like they have to pay money to use every single one of those things. Anything outside of the original release, like if they want to do a remaster, and they got to pay for all those licenses again. Like, so they're not going to go out of their way to do something like that. Especially the fact that like the Tony Hawk series is pretty much dead at this point.
Yeah, the last one put the nail in the coffin on that one.
But so there were people like, why the hell doesn't this have Symphony of the Night? Like that is an essential PlayStation 1 game, and I do agree. But as we've learned in recent, with this Castlevania Requiem, is that Sony paid a bunch of money to make Castlevania Requiem PlayStation 4 exclusive. So with that, like, why would they put a game that they probably spent, whoever knows, a lot of money on to get exclusivity, and then they're going to offer it on this system, with all these other things where essentially they're not going to get as a big of return on investment. So, and then the same thing with like the Crash, like people are like, where's Crash? Where's Spyro? Well, Crash just had a remastered, trilogy put out. Spyro has its coming out here like right around the corner. So it wouldn't make sense for them to, potentially lose the revenue for those games by releasing the original versions that people are like truly nostalgic over on this.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, some of those games, I mean, those are really mainstays.
Yes. I agree.
PlayStation in its early life, so I can understand why people would be like, hello.
Yes. So, just real quick, I just want to like read the list of the 20 games.
Please do.
And then, we'll kind of build off of this, and this will kind of go into kind of our topic of the episode. But the 20 games they announced now are Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms.
See, I don't know why people would bitch about it. That's a solid list of games right there.
I agree. I think it's a pretty solid list. I've played 17 of these 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
And of those 17 games that I have played, they're all solid games. The only ones that I haven't played were Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, which I hear is not super great.
The earlier ones weren't. I didn't think so.
Yeah, but then again, early PlayStation games are all rough in their own regards.
Yep.
But I hadn't played Ridge Racer Type 4. I played the previous Ridge Racer games, just not that one. And then I never played
Ridge Racer.
I never played Mr. Driller, which is kind of like a puzzle, like Tetris-ish, like Yoshi Cookie, Dr. Mario sort of, kind of puzzle game. But everything else, I mean, I've seen people like, why the hell is Battle Arena Toshinden on there? I was like, are you freaking serious? Like, Battle Arena Toshinden was a huge fighting game at the time. No. One of the first games I got for the PlayStation. It was one of their like main marketing games as well. And again, another one of those PlayStation games that you can put in a CD player and play music of.
I did not know that.
I used to do that during some mostly when I found out that these games had music. It was back in the day when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna put on some music, background music, and that and Tomb Raider and other stuff like that. Just kind of give us some like background music instead of like, your standard like radio music or CDs or whatever. But yeah, I mean, most of the games I've seen some other people like, hey, we'll get rid of Intelligent Cube.
Why?
Yeah, why? I mean, a couple puzzlers on there I think is well deserved. Intelligent Cube was a pretty fun game.
Well, I mean, and if you think about it, I mean, like it's a $50 PlayStation 1 game.
Yes, and that's why I still don't have it because I haven't dropped the cash on it.
I mean, it's come down too because that used to be 100, 150 all day long, and good luck if you could even find the damn thing.
Right? Yeah. I only ever had the demo disc that had it.
Oh, okay.
Which I think was one of the PlayStation Jam Packs or whatever, like the original like pack-in demo discs that came with the PlayStation.
Sure.
Another game I saw people questioning was Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Okay.
And that one I can kind of see. Like I had one of the puzzle. I think I had that one. I think there was a couple Puzzle Fighter games on the PlayStation 1, right?
I believe so. I think there was like 2 of them. If I remember
I used to have one of them, and again, that's kind of a pricey game. But maybe that one I could be like, I don't know. But overall, I think it's a pretty solid lineup. We got some.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why people are complaining. I mean, like I say, if we're gonna sit here and do the whole my game that I would want isn't on there, well, then fucking go buy it then.
True that. I mean. Even if you don't want to buy it, you can emulate it. Like you can emulate PlayStation 1 all day. It's not hard.
That's right, you can. I was gonna say, yeah. I was like, I know for a while there, people were having trouble like getting it to work right, but
I have my dad set up with a PS1 emulator so he can play the JRPGs. My dad likes your very traditional JRPGs. My dad likes grinding. He likes grindy games. I still haven't got him hooked up with Dragon Quest VII yet, though. But, if my dad can do it, you can do it. My dad's not a technology guy, but he can start up that emulator. Get his games going. Every once in a while he's like, "Hey, where's my game list is gone." And it's just because he's not like opening
in the right folder. Yeah. His directory is a little off.
But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like people are judging this a little bit more harshly. They're like, well, look at what Nintendo did with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. And I don't know if that's necessarily an apples to apples comparison. Especially like, a lot of these games, like Sony's they're more like third party centric, where Nintendo's very first party centric.
Exactly.
So, a lot more of the quote unquote classics, like Nintendo doesn't need to pay all these licensing costs, for some of the like more notable named games where, that's largely what Sony did. Some people are like, well, why isn't Legend of Dragoon on there? Valid question.
That was an in-house project.
And like the actual, I don't have the list of the Japanese version of the PlayStation Classic, but the Japanese PlayStation Classic has like 5 more, has more JRPGs on it. Like some of the like Saga Frontier is on there. There's something else too, a couple others, and like the Japanese one actually looked pretty good. It's like, wow, that's a pretty good lineup. But I don't know. I'm not complaining. And people are like, well, $100 for all these games. It's like, how's that a ridiculous price? I mean,
yeah, it's really not. Like, I don't see where anybody would have the grounds to be like, if you added up all the totals, if you had to go buy the hard copies plus a system, you'd be right on par. You'd be under. Yeah, like I say, Intelligent Cube's $50 on its own.
Yeah, original Persona is like $40 game. Final Fantasy 7, 20, Super Puzzle Fighter, that's I think
30,
that's like
40,
yeah, I think that's up there too. I mean, so it doesn't take much to add things up. And then people are like, well, why did they include this is kind of a valid, people are like, why did they include Resident Evil Director's Cut, which kind of advertised that it had DualShock capabilities.
Dual Shack.
From Baston. DualShock. I can't do accent.
What are you from Boston? Like, hey, give me throw one of them Dual Shack controllers over.
Put in my cap. But the system doesn't come with DualShock controllers. It just comes with the original controllers. And again, it's like, you know what? Honestly, I do not recall ever using really the DualShock for those early games. The
early games they didn't have DualShock. That was a much later thing. That was actually towards the end of the system's life that like long handled DualShock came out.
Yeah, so, and there wasn't a ton of games that like fully like supported it either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've seen people say I will not buy this because it doesn't come with DualShock controllers. It's like,
you know,
okay.
There are so many people that do that. If this doesn't have what I want it to have, I'm not buying it. And then they buy it. Like, of course they're going to buy it. You know, it's who are you trying to be tough with? Other people on the internet? Hey guys, I'm a tough guy. I'm not going to buy this because it doesn't have this.
Well, it's
okay. Who gives a shit?
I mean, that's just like the atmosphere of the internet. It's always negativity. Like, everything gotta be negative. Like, not saying that we need to ignore, like, you know, when something has like a serious flaw, but I don't know. A lot of the arguments with the PlayStation Classic just really don't seem enough. Like the lack of DualShock controllers. Like, okay, I guess.
I mean, yeah, but that's like you're saying though. Those are all games, I believe, that didn't even utilize the DualShock anyway. It's like, yeah, they're nice to have. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're convenient, but like these games didn't originally have that. Even the support for them. So why are you bitching that they like? It's not the PS2 Classic. It's the PS1 Classic. That's like bitching that the NES Classic doesn't have shoulder buttons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, well, no, the NES never had that, but still they could. Like, ugh, God, yeah. You're bitching about having, you know, in this case, it's only 20 games, but it's like, why bitch? What's the point? What's it gain you?
Oh yeah, and the 20 games thing. People, I've seen complaints that are like, you know, for the cost, this should have way more than 20 games.
That's because everyone's thinking, because it's, you know, they think these giant conglomerate, you know, these corporations like, you're being cheap and you're fucking us. Like, then don't buy it. Then what the fuck do you care? You know,
right.
I have an opinion though. Like, great.
Yes. Yeah. So then kind of moving into our topic and something I thought would be kind of fun, just related to this discussion. A lot of people are like, you know, these are the games that I would like included on the system. So I thought maybe Justin and we could kind of come up with a list. Like, we'll just create our own list of 20. Yeah. Essentially, your 20 essential PS1 games. You know, obviously a pipe dream, it's not going to happen because they announced the system. But, you know, for funsies, and, you know, maybe somebody could take this as a list of, you know, here's 20 games that maybe I should check out if I haven't, sort of thing. So with that, I think just looking at the existing list, I think there's some games on there that I think would be must includes for me. Like Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil, I think, and Metal Gear Solid. I think those three main ones from the PlayStation Classic I think those are musts. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. With no question, not even a question there.
So I'm also keeping track of the list just so we can not forget what we've picked. Any other games on the initial PlayStation Classic that you think are musts? Definitely.
I mean, even though I'm not a huge racer guy, I'm glad Ridge Racer's on there, because I mean, Ridge Racer, that's the gaming, or that's the racing game of that system.
What about Gran Turismo? instead
Or
of
wait, no, Ridge Racer was on there. Yeah, I was like, wait, you said Gran, like, oh shit.
Yes.
Well, Gran Turismo came out later, so I can kind of see why that was passed on. Because I mean, Ridge Racer was Namco, and I mean, it did. It came out. It was one of the first racer. I think it was actually the first racer on there, the racing game on the PlayStation. But Gran Turismo is solid. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just more for Sony. It's really more synonymous to have Ridge Racer on there. So
Ridge Racer Type 4 or just
any Ridge Racer would do, really.
Any. Okay.
They got good puzzlers. I mean, and the thing is though too, like if they didn't have any RPGs and you were like, whoa, what would you think for an RPG? I mean, they really nailed two of the great early ones for the PlayStation. Wild Arms, fantastic RPG, and Final Fantasy VII. Well, I don't have to, I got my Tifa poster, my Tifa figurines. I have a Tifa hoodie. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, thumbs up. Like, no questions there.
Absolutely.
A more obscure game that I would think. I mean, again, this is more me leaning towards my RPG side, though, so I kind of feel biased on this. But
essentially, this is our 20 essential PS1 games.
You might be able to help me out, but I'm gonna say I think it's Blood Omen: Legacy of Kain.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's a Zelda-esque type RPG, and you're a vampire.
You're a vampire. You can essentially go around murdering people and sucking blood.
Yeah, while they're sleeping, you just.
Jeez, I can't remember the name of his dual axes. It was like Malice and something. Just a badass, a badass game. It kind of plays, it's like isometric style, almost sort of like Diablo, but like more close up. But then kind of spawned into the Soul Reaver series, which is part of the Legacy of Kain series. But yeah, no, I'm all for Legacy of Kain.
Legacy of Kain or Soul Reaver. I didn't go because Soul Reaver was more Tomb Raider-esque, and
yes,
I was kind of I rented Soul Reaver, and I was like, oh, this isn't anything, because I'm like, oh, it's Legacy of Kain stuff, and I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll just put Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen on there for now.
One quick thing on that, but how, like you say, like you can go into towns and that you won't be attacked, and because there's a day and night cycle too. I just remembered that when you suck the blood out of people sleeping, they still make that little when they die.
It's like they're sleeping.
But then you just, because you can push a button in the game, and it's like anything in proximity, you'll just the blood will come to you. You don't have to lean in, bite them on the neck. You just stick your hand out and you drain their blood with their power. But then when they die, it's like and they disappear. Yes.
So another RPG. Just this is our fantasy list. I want to throw another RPG on there. Xenogears.
Ooh.
For me, Final Fantasy VII, love it, absolutely love it. But I don't know, I think I really do think I prefer Xenogears. Although sometimes I go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But those are definitely my must RPGs. I mean, really, this would be a very easy list to put mostly just JRPGs on, because there's so many good ones for the PlayStation 1.
So is that, you're gonna put that on the list then?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, we got 7 games so far: Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Ridge Racer, any Ridge Racer, Wild Arms, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, and Xenogears.
I'm actually really surprised that Jumping Flash isn't on there. I really am.
Well, I never actually owned Jumping Flash. Again, another game. I just played the demo.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't necessarily attest to its overall quality, but if you think it should be on there.
Yeah, that'll be my next choice. That'll be my... And I apologize for being unprofessional, listeners. I'm eating last night's candy. That were leftover candy. So if it sounds like I'm Yeah, I'm eating Reese's peanut butter cups. Sue me.
Side note, I had no trick-or-treaters stop by.
Well, that just means more candy for you.
That is true. It's kind of disappointing. Like,
So I hope you bought good shit, not like, oh, I'll get the cheap shit because I don't care. And then you're like, oh, they
I
didn't
know
come
that.
out. Now you have to eat the cheap shit.
there's like a 5-pound bag of like assorted, like, you know, it's like Snickers, M&Ms, Reese's, or something else.
And the best part is all of it goes on sale now.
Yes, but it's kind of disappointing. I mean, I'm sure there's a nostalgic element to it, but I do specifically remember, like, pretty much anywhere where I lived when I was a kid. When I went trick or treating, like, there was kids everywhere, and it just happened last night, like during like trick or treat hours. Like, it typically starts like 5:30 here.
Mhm.
I think is when kids start trick or treating. So it's probably like 6 or 6:30. I had to run to the grocery store, and you know, it's not super far, but I drive around the community to get to the grocery store, and like I saw some kids, but I didn't see like kids all over the place. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how things have been over the last many years, but it's disappointing to see like that not being a bigger thing. But then again, you know, the smart people, you know, you go to the ritzy neighborhoods with the big houses, you know,
Give you the full size candy bars.
full size, exactly. So maybe they just think we're the cheapskate neighborhood. You know, I would say townhouse development, you know, that's quick succession. You know, that's,
Oh yeah.
you know, doors within, you know, 50 feet of one another kind of stuff. Like, you can hit a lot of houses, and there's a lot of lights on throughout the whole community. And I saw what I assume to be parents and a kid like walk through, and my light was on, and they just maybe they didn't like look at my house. They're like, you know what? Screw that guy. Grass, crappy candy.
He looks like the type of guy that bought that like off-brand, no-name shit. Fuck him.
Brand. I mean, like once we started getting like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I was like, if a kid stops by, I'm gonna tell him, take a handful, man.
You just hit the jackpot, mofo.
You know, those kids, they missed out. I'm sorry for you kids. You all missed out. Sucks to be you. Now I got a whole big ass bag of candy, probably more than what you got for all your trick or treating. I got a whole bag of candy that I just get to eat for myself,
and I don't have to share with nobody.
Yeah, except my fiance. I don't have to because I love her.
God, that's my choice. I made that choice. But so what will be your next one?
So this is kind of an odd one, but I was thinking for maybe just for the sake of a little variety, you know, we can always go back and we don't have to necessarily like finalize these choices. We can go back and remove things, but you know, I was like, you know, there's not really any like shooters on here, and then I was kind of thinking like, it might not be a highly well regarded game, but I thought Einhander.
A shump. Okay.
Yeah, a shoot 'em up shooter.
I don't want to say that because honestly, you're in the realm that they have the gun com on there, so you could have like Time Crisis and stuff. So that's what I would consider a shooter.
Oh, gotcha. Ooh, yeah. I always neglect that because I don't have any of those games, which I really want. Was it Elemental Gearbolt?
Yep.
Like I want that game like a lot. I actually played it at one of our mutual friends has like little get-togethers once in a while.
Well, you could have asked me. I could have let you borrow it.
Yeah, it's more of like a multiplayer experience. I mean, I guess I could play it by myself too, but I don't have the. I don't have for that. I believe you have to have the PlayStation that has the 3.5 jack in the back.
Well, you don't have to. But...
You don't have. Oh, I thought you did.
If you use the gun com, I don't believe so. But
I thought if you use the gun com, you needed that.
No. The gun com uses. Oh wait, yeah, you might be. No. Because I'm trying to think now. I can't remember if it's the Guncom 2 or the regular Guncom. I thought both Guncoms did the same thing where they hook up at the video jack towards the back of the TV, not through the PlayStation jack. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but anyways, Einhander I think would be an interesting inclusion. I'm not super versed in the shmups for the PlayStation 1. I know there's other games. I think like Raiden and
R-types. There's like 4 or 5 different R-types on there.
But just because it's a game that I particularly enjoy.
No, yeah, Einhander's amazing.
Squaresoft classic. I love pretty much everything Squaresoft for the PlayStation 1 could be on this list, and I would be okay with it. And there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is.
What would be another game you'd throw on there?
The Castlevania Chronicles.
Ooh, yes. I need a copy of that eventually still.
Because that's something you can get the 3 different versions of Castlevania 1, and they adjusted the difficulty in certain areas. And yeah, so I think it's an overall solid experience for getting your Castlevania fix.
Castlevania Chronicles over Symphony of the Night?
Fuck no. But the thing is, though, but we're talking apples and oranges here. We're talking about 2 different experiences.
Sure.
For someone who wants the classic Castlevania experience, they're going to be like, what the hell is this Symphony of the Night bullshit? This is nothing. This isn't Castlevania. But then for people, because part of that retrospective, or the history of that I watched, even said when Symphony of the Night came out, it was technically a commercial failure. Like, it did not sell well. It took months later until people went, this game's fucking solid. And then it blew up.
I got it at launch. I thought the game was amazing. I was like, this is the cool. I mean, to be honest, or to be fair, this is coming. I went into Symphony of the Night coming from the NES, having Simon's Quest as my favorite NES game. So moving into Symphony of the Night was like
right up your alley. Yep.
My alley. I was like, yes. I mean, Simon's Quest, and then Super Metroid, and then kind of moving on to like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We got that, that hybrid experience kind of taken from both of those genres in many aspects. Like, I absolutely loved it. Especially, at the time, like I was dying for anything RPG.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, hell yes. Hell yes. Well, I got to put Symphony of the Night on here. It's got to be. I mean, we're talking essentials. Really.
I'm really trying to go. I'm trying to really. I mean, I know it's your turn up, but I mean, I'm really trying to rack my brain and because I'm trying to think outside the box. Like, if it's just like what I would want on there, it's like
true.
I'm trying to appeal to a greater audience. Like, and that's the thing is like,
I'm trying to agree
with some of those things like Spyro and all that. Like, I do agree. Like, they could have thrown one Spyro on there, even though like you say, but they got the like, yeah, but not everyone's gonna, maybe not someone who has a PS4. And that's what these like little emulator boxes are for. They're for the like general populace that would go, oh, dude, I remember that, but don't want to invest in having an original console and have to go back to the system again.
Sure. Yeah. What you got?
No, it's your turn. I just said.
Well, I threw on Symphony of the Night.
Oh, you cheap bastard! You just like respond back. Trying to think of some really good PS1 games that I really I could say as a joke you could do Fox Hunt. But it's a complete joke. The game is it's like a Bruce Campbell film. It's like it's good because you tell yourself it's good.
Fox Hunt? I'm actually I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
What it was one of those it's kind of like uses
I've seen
FMVs and
yes,
but
oh no, actually I watched something on this like not too long ago, and I was like, how didn't I never heard of this game? Because I'm
dude, it was the only reason I knew about it is because I rented it back in the day. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a spy game, and then it was one of those like you can get stuck super easy. You're like, well, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of those like it uses real footage, and it's damn near what's Don Bluth that
Yeah.
night, like it's you either make the right choice or you're dead.
Sure,
that's all it is.
Yeah, I just added it to my wish list as a reminder. But as a more serious pick,
God,
I got more.
Hold on. I'm really trying to go through my brain here and be like essential PS1 games. So trying to think of. Come on. Because I want to, like I said, I want to try to really branch away from RPGs. I mean, because otherwise we'll just be like, I just want an RPG retro box. Like, well then, yeah. Well, what's wrong with that? That's amazing.
Yeah.
They already got Tekken. They got a version of Tekken on there. So I mean,
should we put a version of Tekken on our list? Is Tekken like what's the fighting
they
game?
probably 3, because the first 2, I mean, it was.
Tekken 3
is
it's
pretty solid for PS1 and what it could do. I can think.
You got games like
I just thought of something.
X-Men versus Street Fighter or Marvel.
That's what I was just going to say. Is like I would throw on Marvel versus Capcom, even though it was the most inferior port version of
Street
it.
Fighter for PS1, I believe. I don't think it was Marvel.
Nope, they had both.
Oh yeah, okay, you're right.
I was going to say I own Marvel versus Capcom on the PS1. That's why I'm like, no, I'm 100% on that one, but it's the most inferior version they put out. The Saturn version is the best because the PlayStation version doesn't have enough RAM to allow you to alternate your partner like the other ones do. They had to make a special mode called like co-op mode, but what it is, so it's like, let's say me and you were playing. Whoever I pick as my main character is your offset partner and vice versa. So if I choose Spider-Man, that's your tag-in partner.
Sure.
And you don't get to say anything about it because that's how limited the RAM was. But the Saturn, you had to actually install the 4 gig RAM or the 4 meg update of RAM to play the full experience of Marvel vs. Capcom. So it had its drawback.
Sure.
But I'll say Marvel vs. Capcom.
Solid.
Because that game is fucking amazing.
Well, one that I saw other people kind of mentioning, and I think it's less a Sony thing, and I think it's more of a Konami thing, why it wasn't included on the PS1 Classic. I'm going to throw Silent Hill on here.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, I would love to say Silent Hill 2, but I think with any series, you kind of got to start with the first one. I mean, that's saying
we can't put Silent Hill 2 because that's PS2.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You are correct. You are correct.
Pwned in the face.
Yes. Yeah. Silent Hill. I think if you're gonna have Resident Evil, you got to have Silent Hill.
No, I'm with you on that one.
All right. Nothing.
You put me. God, see, it sucks because it's not till PS2 till like that stuff comes. I was gonna say like a Gradius would be great, but they didn't make a Gradius till PS2. Ninja was Tenchu.
Yes, I'm with you on that. That was actually gonna be one of my picks. Potentially. Yeah, and I mean, I think we're no stranger to our Tenchu praise on this podcast.
I own every one of them except that shitty download one that they made like a weird Defender version of it on the like Xbox Live or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'm only missing. I think there's one for the Wii that I don't have.
Yep.
And then
I don't own that one.
I think there's one for the Xbox Tenchu Z that I
own it.
I don't have. I can't remember. Actually, Corpse Flood is going to be hooking me up with some games. I can't remember if that was one that was included or not.
Well, I mean, if you had to, it's not an expensive game by any means. So just jump on Amazon or eBay. You probably pick it up for $5-6
for sure. So let's see. Next game, I think I'm going to pick Tomb Raider.
Okay. No, that's, no reason why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think Tomb Raider probably didn't end up on the PS1 Classic for licensing, especially it being kind of like the big popular series that it is right now. Even though I'm hearing Shadow of the Tomb Raider didn't meet sales expectations. I don't know if anybody heard about the controversy about that. I guess a few weeks after it was released, they did a 30% discount on the game, and a lot of people were like, wow, why did I pay full price for this when you're just going to turn around and discount it?
Well, on top of it, I mean, it's I don't know if you saw Sterling, his thing on Call of Duty Black Ops 4 sells $500 million in its first week, and that they were disappointed. It's like, are people just not happy anymore? Like, how much money do you need to make opening weekend?
Right. I mean, especially when it comes to Tomb Raider, this is coming off the back of, remember, Tomb Raider is, I mean, it's developed by Crystal Dynamics, but Crystal Dynamics is owned by Square Enix. And we just had Square Enix threatening, hey, if Dragon Quest XI doesn't sell up to our expectations, you might never see another Dragon Quest game. It's like,
yeah,
fuck you, douches. Why don't you make a quality game? Then you don't have to worry about sales, because a quality game will sell instead of, some of these I think largely, I think there's severe issues with Japanese development, just the kind of the culture that their studios have. I mean, American studios aren't much better, but I see a little bit more independence. But then again, it's all across the board. I mean, there's very independent studios in Japan and stuff. But some of these bigger games, it really seems like a lot of times they just kind of suck the life out of them, just for this mechanical development process that they go through. I digress. Tomb Raider, I think, is a must. I mean, it wasn't, of course, a PlayStation exclusive. It was PC, and I think it was on Saturn as well.
Yep.
But for me, I mean, I originally played it on PC, but I never got to play the complete game on the PC because I didn't have a PC at the time. So I was like, hell yes, Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1. Thank you. Which, of course, spawned into one of my all-time favorite series.
So if I'm wrong, which I could be, is there a Siphon Filter game on there?
Siphon Filter is on the PlayStation Classic.
Okay, I was going to say I'm not looking at the list currently, so I was just like, if there's not a Siphon Filter on there, there should be.
Yeah, I agree with Siphon Filter.
Trying to think here, really.
Our list.
To say, if there's not a Siphon Filter on there, there damn well better be, because, yeah. Man, this is really fucking getting me some brain exercise. I'm just trying to, it's like having a Rolodex in your brain. You're like, what would people think is enjoyable? Ooh, I know, perfect. A good solid platformer, Klonoa.
Yes, I saw a lot of people wait, why isn't Klonoa on here?
I mean, again, it's Namco, but they got Ridge Racer on there, so it's not like, oh, we couldn't get Namco to say yes to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, I can tell you guys right now, if you're listening to this and you have not played Klonoa, and you just got an extra $180 laying around, pick yourself up a copy, because it is seriously such a fun, and I'm gonna say, I hate to have to use this word, but I just whatever. It's a fun, magical little platformer. It's just. It's seriously, it's so much fun, an amazing soundtrack. It's cutesy, but you just enjoy yourself the whole way through. You really do.
Sure. Let's see. So I think kind of going off the beaten path, trying to get a little bit more variety in here. I think I'm gonna pick Alundra.
Nice call.
A lot of people like to compare it to Zelda. I think there are some similarities, but kind of did its own thing for the most part. are all isometric, action adventure games, Zelda games. I don't know. But Alundra is one I think deserves a little bit more attention that it gets. I know a lot of people are familiar with it, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's something you have to have kind of an RPG stick up your butt to really appreciate and say, I mean, if you're a hardcore RPGer and you've played a good amount on the PS1's library and you go, what's Alundra? Then I'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But, it's like to say I'm into action and, you're into action PS1 games, but you've never played Metal Gear Solid. I'd be like, beat yourself up right now. Punch, if you have a dick, punch yourself in it. So, but you are right. Like Alundra, again, it plays off the Landstalker series from the Sega Genesis, and just an all-around solid game. You can jump, so take Zelda, add a jump button to it, and tons of dungeons. It's another one of those games where, like Zelda, it looks like an area you can go to, but you need certain items. Like you need extra jump boots or you need a grappling hook or something. If you like Zelda and you've not played Alundra, get on it. It's if you want a copy, you can probably get one for like $30 to $40, and that's because it's one of those weird games where it came with a map inside of it, which it's a working titles design. So if you like working designs, if you like working designs, you like Lunar and stuff like that, that's who brought it to America here. But there was a map that came with it. And if it comes with the map, expect to pay like $100 to $120. But if you don't have the map, like $30, $40.
Yeah, and I don't have the map, sadly. But
me either.
Being a working designs game, they put out various revisions of the disc with different disc art.
Oh god, yeah.
So
I hate that they did that.
4 or 5 different versions of it. I have 2. One of the versions I have is just the disc only, so I just threw it in the case with the other game. But I got like the A. I think actually the A and B variants, like
nice.
the traditional disc that like most people have. I think is the A disc, and then I have like the B variants like red, and there's a couple others. But yeah, I don't know, fun game.
Okay, so you said Alundra, huh? Okay. Let me think here. So they already got Final Fantasy, because I would say like either like anthologies or chronicles, but again, that's just ports of Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, stuff like that. So that's too easy. And even saying Chrono Trigger, I'd say Chrono Cross, but again, like I say, I'm really trying to tear myself away. Come on, PS1 brain. I almost want to go back to my PS1 area, but I said Tenchu.
Fortunately for me, I got everything on a nice list that I can just look at real quick.
This is going to be a hard call, but I would say as essential, the Strider 2, the Strider 2 disc pack.
2 disc pack. I don't think I'm familiar with that one actually.
Well, Strider, right?
Yes.
So on PS1, we got Strider and Strider 2. So they updated Strider 1, and then they made an original game called Strider 2, and it was a 2-pack set on PS1. So you got the original arcade version that you could play, and then so if you liked Ninja Gaiden and you like your pace a little quickened, definitely Strider 2 is up your alley. And it was great because it was one of those games where every time you beat it, you unlocked a new character. So you could unlock like 4 new characters to play that, and everybody had their own abilities and move sets, but it's still a platforming side scroller,
Sure. Okay, so then, despite some conversations about the difficulty of licensing, just to try to maybe add a little, even though I was more shooting like that. It was almost like our 20 favorite PS1 games, but I kind of like that we're trying to add some variety here. So I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to throw on one of the games that people are like, why the hell it's not on the Classic? That would be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
I'm gonna let you take the main stage on that one, because back in the day, to me it was a sports game, and I'm not really big into skating and that kind of culture and all that. So like, I don't hate the game, but it's just one of those. It's like a football game. If it's your cup of tea, great. But me, no interest whatsoever.
Well,
even if it is a fun game.
Well, you know what? I think we'll if we have any sort of opposition, I think scratch it, because you know what, as much as I enjoy the game, there's other things that I would definitely include over it.
But I mean, if we're talking about essentials that I mean, we're doing our favorite type of games, sure. But I'm also trying to look at it from a perspective of if we were going to suggest this new list of 20 games to people who may have not played PlayStation or, wanted some ideas, I'd say keep it on there because, I mean, you're not alone. It's not like, oh, Tony Hawk is such this niche crowd of people, like that Skitchen game.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to, what the fuck? Even I was like, oh, God, I know that name. And then once you said the inline, I'm like, yep, okay. I have seen someone do a video on it. But
so for Tony Hawk, there's kind of some like caveats with it. I think Tony Hawk is a very friends focused kind of game. When I had it back in the day, like I played through it, unlocked all the skaters and stuff. But a lot of the times that we played the game, we were playing it as friends, either just passing the controller, trying to complete objectives, or we were doing, my group of friends, our big thing was the warehouse level, using Bob Burnquist and trying to get the like most insane possible score we could, which I can't remember the number, but I know we worked on it. And I came up with this like crazy strategy for this trick, like doing his special move through like the little, like there was like a glass office above the half pipe that you do the super move through and get like this and then grind around the stage. And this it was fucking crazy. I did it. Of course I don't have my memory card anymore because as I've talked about before, my brother at a later date had erased my data. But it's kind of it's a solid game. I think it's fun to play. Like what I think is sports games. I mean, yeah, it definitely kind of falls into that realm of sports games, but I think there's a little bit less like not like sports like football, basketball, baseball. A little bit more edge. They throw in the music. You got a lot of punk and like ska music in the background, which I think kind of neat, and just kind of like the attitude and doing all these cool tricks and stuff. And I wasn't much of a skater. Like I tried for a little bit and ended up just being a poser. And
at least you can admit it.
And, I wore hookup shirts and all that, and I couldn't ollie like more than like a half an inch off the ground. But is what it is. But I could live vicariously through these amazing Tony Hawk games that pretty much every like extreme sports game like has basically taken after since then. So, all right. Well, we got one more game. What you got for our 20th?
I'm going to add one more to the fighter list. I know we already got plenty, but actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to replace Marvel vs. Capcom so that you can get the last one in, because you're clearly more on the ball tonight. I'm going to replace Marvel vs. Capcom with Bloody Roar.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, sadly, a series that's. I mean, I really only played like the first and second. I've never actually owned any of the Bloody Roar games.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really say, oh, it's too bad the series disappeared. Cause, I mean, if I really liked it, I would have bought the games. But it's kind of sad. I mean, that was a pretty neat series. And
see, I disagree with you. Not that it was pretty neat, but I disagree that if it was good, you would have bought it. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those series where you don't think of it when you're like at a game store or at one of our meetups.
That's true. That's very true.
You look at it, you're just like, because it's not something on your brain. But then if when we talk like this and we go back and forth, then you're like, God, that was, I don't own it, but that was a good series. Now you might want to, if you see one, two, I think one of them came on the PS2, I think. But I want to say the first 3 or 4 were on the PS1.
Yes, I believe you are correct. I know the first 2 are for sure.
Yep. So, Bloody Roar was actually like it. I remember when I play, because again, I rented it, and me and a couple buddies sat around all night playing because I like growing up. I had like 2 friends, and that was it out of all my groups of friends that liked actually playing like fighting games, like Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever. No one else. They're like, you're just gonna beat, and it's not fun for us. It's like, okay, but we had like me and 2 other buddies. So I remember we rented that game, Bloody Roar 1, and we were like, okay. I'm like, I'd rather just play Marvel vs. Capcom or something else that we know. But it ended up being really fucking good. Because until Tekken really refined it later on the PS2 and later on, at least in my opinion, I was so used to 2D fighters like Street Fighter.
Yes.
So when they started doing that 3D arena stuff, it was like,
yeah,
I don't know if I like this, but like Soul Calibur,
yep,
and then Bloody Roar really kind of like, they really perfected it, and it was like, okay, I'm getting used to this 3D arena stuff.
Yeah, because I think up until Bloody Roar for 3D fighters, like as far as I can remember, like the main one that I remember playing was like Virtual Fighter.
Battle Shinden.
Oh yeah, and Battle Arena Toshinden, of course. And I really enjoyed Battle Arena Toshinden, and a large part of that was weapons. It was cool as shit, like at the time, graphically and everything.
Swords and whips and hammers and stuff. Yeah.
And like the soundtrack was kind of like this like techno rock sort of stuff, and that was pretty neat. Virtual Fighter was a game I only ever played Virtual Fighter in game rental stores when they had like the demo unit set up, like for the Saturn or I think they had a PlayStation. I remember one, like it was when my family first moved to Minnesota in particular. There is a rental store I used to go to that seemed to always have Virtual Fighter set up. And I used to play the crap out of it. But Bloody Roar that was a lot of fun. I like the lycanthropomorphic aspect where the characters like shift into the animals. Furry's wet dream, I'm sure. But that's kind of a cool element to it. And then the cage, like you bust through the cage and like do the ring out sort of stuff, which wasn't original at that point. Battle Arena Toshinden and Virtual Fighter both did it. Tekken, I know Tekken didn't do it. There's something else. Anyways, yeah.
It'd be the Soul Calibur series.
Yes, Soul Calibur.
Which I think the first one on PlayStation was called Soul Blade?
Soul Edge.
Soul Edge, there you go, yeah. Which I own it, but I was like, I know they changed, it was...
Actually, the Soul Calibur was the spiritual successor to Battle Arena Toshinden.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Some dates the other day during one of the discussions that people were like, why the hell Battle Arena Toshinden? And on the wiki, they actually mentioned that a bunch of the team went on to work on Soul Calibur games.
Because I say, Battle Arena Toshinden wasn't a Namco game, was it? I don't think it was.
I don't think so.
Because, the Soul Calibur series is Namco.
Ooh, man.
Get that Pac-Man symbol.
Yeah.
So what is your last choice? You get the last one.
Last one, jeez. Pressure is on. There's so many games.
You're probably. I know you want to say Army Men. That's cool.
Army Men. Actually, funny story is, Artificial Raven. I think he had rented it or something, and in the game you can make your Army Men go prone, and they just like almost like dive to the ground. And I don't know why I remember this. This shit was like 20 years ago. Random day, he just rented this game. Like we didn't even play it that long. I remember he was like, "Hey, check it out, muff dive." Like the character throw himself on the ground. I was like, I thought it was the funniest thing. Muff
diving.
I don't know how it relates, but for some reason you just triggered that neural pathway for me.
Well, there you go. I'm glad I gave you a smile.
Yeah. Last game. I thought I had something. Actually, I think that I'm trying to stray away from the like action adventure RPGs now. I was just thinking, maybe throw on Diablo on there. That was a really fun version. It's not as good as the PC version, but you can play local 2-player. Yeah, I don't know. I'd imagine the people listening are like, why the hell aren't you including this game or this game? What about this game?
But that's the thing is, they can do their own list then.
Yeah. True.
I mean, if we're not catering to every single person. I mean, one person could say, well, I want this game, and the next person be like, well, I'd rather have this game.
Yeah, it's just for fun.
It's like every top 10 list ever on YouTube, like top 10 greatest RPGs or top 10 greatest, like everybody's always like, this person's fucking nuts. They should be this. This guy's stupid. Like, this is my opinion, not yours. You're listening to my opinion.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this isn't necessarily our 20. Like, these are your must PlayStation 1 games. Like, these are some games on here, yeah, for sure. But other ones were just kind of like, some variety. So I think for variety and kind of another game I've seen people mention that I'm just going to throw it on here for funsies is Parappa the Rapper.
Good call. Didn't think of I honestly, I feel bad. I've only played that. It's my turn to be you. I've only played that on the demo disc.
That is a game that I have completed. One of my a friend had it. Actually, the friend that I had borrowed Resident Evil 2 from and kept that I still have. We had played that together. No, just a solid game. Kind of like really, I think, was a big kickoff for the kind of like rhythm games. I mean, there was other rhythm games. Before then, I can't necessarily name any, but I know Parappa the Rapper wasn't the first. But especially for the PlayStation 1 at the time, like, it was something very unique, very, it was fun, it was silly, just kind of, going in with like the mid 90s, like hip hop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember around that time, like, it was hard to like have video game discussions and somebody wasn't talking about like Punch Kick. It's all in the mind kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess this is our list. So let me just kind of read it through for our listeners again. We got Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Ridge Racer, Wild Arms, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Xenogears, Jumping Flash, Einhander, Castlevania Chronicles, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Bloody Roar, Silent Hill, Tenchu, Tomb Raider, Klonoa, Alundra, Strider 2 Disc Pack, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Parappa the Rapper.
Our list sounds so all over the fucking place compared to like the nice neat package Sony made.
Yeah.
I was gonna say as an honorable mention, I can't think of what. I think it's just actually called Destruction Derby.
Yes, that's actually on the regular PlayStation Classic.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I was like, God, there used to be like a really good fucking car, like.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Destruction Derby. Yeah.
One game that I was legitimately surprised that wasn't on the PlayStation 1 Classic, that again was a huge, like, it was a big marketed game for the PlayStation as a PlayStation seller, was Jet Moto.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a pretty fun game, actually. It's not like I'm itching to bust it out and play, but I played it plenty back in the day, trying to just race and hey, I can do a flip on the water ski thing. Okay, cool, awesome.
Oh, speaking of which, Jet Moto. Oh wait, yeah, that is the one on. What was that like futuristic space racer that was on Sony?
Wipeout, wasn't it?
Wipeout, yeah, Wipeout.
Yeah, that was another one I was kind of thinking of. That was kind of a surprising one. And like when I was kind of thinking about some of this, like I was like particularly thinking of two like the advertisements that I used to always see, in magazines or in the rental stores. Like Forsaken, that was another game that was like heavily pushed. That was the first person, like you're in a little ship, like flying through tunnels and fighting like other ships and shit.
Okay. Which actually just made it spark. I'm the way you're talking now, you're sparking memories in me. I don't know if that's on the original list because we've been talking about so many games. I can't remember if it's on the original list. Like Load or Reloaded, or
yeah, for sure.
I mean, those might be a little probably like too violent for their, like, we're trying to sell this to families.
And I never played those, but I did. I used to see the advertisements like in EGM and stuff all the time. Same with there's those, and then there's PO'd was another game.
But that's not a Sony exclusive.
Oh, okay.
That originally came out on I was going to say 3D. Yeah, 3DO.
Oh, okay.
I believe it came out on the 3DO first. It was on multiple consoles.
Sure.
So I mean, it's funny though. You're the space chef beating the crap out of things with a frying pan, but
I just remember the ads, seeing those all the time. But yeah, I mean, this is a list. Like I said, it's not the 20 best games of all time for the PlayStation 1. That would be definitely something that would take a hell of a lot more time to kind of consider and not just kind of randomly come up with as we discuss. But the PlayStation, I think, has a lot of like seriously classic games, like way more than what this list can handle.
Well, I can tell you right now, when they start coming around the camp of PS2, it's go time. Like, if they make a PS2 classic, yeah, when we do a list for that, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, geez, that's another. I mean, pretty much any system. I mean, there's you as you get a little bit more retro, I think like definite, like solid, like great games there's not as many.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little easier to do something like an NES Classic or SNES Classic. But then once you start getting to these systems that have like 1,000+ games released in its lifespan, even though the PlayStation 2 had a lot of shovelware, but there's a lot of like amazing games.
Well, I'm just saying, like the PS2, like it's for whatever reasons a little more fresh and had, like, because there was like a couple games I was like, ooh, that's like, nope, that's PS2. Ooh, nope, that's PS2. A lot of my thoughts were like, nope, can't use that.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure we could come up with multiple lists of lots of classic games. But yeah, that was just kind of our fun little list thing. Of course, with that conversation, I would definitely like to hear anybody's thoughts of games that you think should have been must-haves for the PlayStation Classic, or games like, why the hell didn't we mention this game? Like, yell at us and tell us how stupid we are for not thinking of it.
No, I mean, yeah, if you guys, I mean, hey, I like good debates. Like, if someone's like, yeah, that game I wouldn't choose for this reason, I'd love to hear it too, so certainly comment.
Yes. So then I think with that, I think we'll make that the community question for next week. Is like what what's like 2 or 3 or even just one PlayStation game that like you think is an egregious exclusion from the PlayStation 1 Classic? Like, what is the one game that they're missing and you can't wrap your head around it?
Mm-hmm.
So then our question for last episode was, what are some games with great horror? What are great non-horror games with horror moments?
Such a difficult question.
Yes, and that was kind of all over the place. I mean, we the games we talked about, like the non-horror games, like stuff like I'd mentioned Tomb Raider and Tenchu and Half-Life, and so I'm trying to pull up the little list here. I lost my tab. I got lots of tabs open, so bear with me.
Would Parasite? No, because I guess that's that was built around a horror genre.
I think so. So we did get some comments, but not a whole lot. Actually, we didn't really get. I think we only got one comment. There's TJ. Sorry, I'm probably gonna butcher this name. new listener, I think. TGA Apulius. It's TGAPULEIUS. So it's TG and then Apulius. Sorry if you're listening. Maybe phonetically type that out for me, and I can correct it next time. But it's TG Apulus. Whatever.
I love how you just keep going for it. You're like, I'm not giving up on this.
I'm trying, man. Enough. Eventually, I would get it, but instead of butchering it, he said, "I'm not trying to assume genders here." LOL. It says the original Thief for PC whipped up zombies out of nowhere, and that was creepy as shit. The game had amazing lighting for the day, so seeing them lurk in the halls was unnerving. Thief is a series that I completely missed out on. I'd always seen advertisements. I always thought they looked interesting. For some reason, never played them, which seems odd, especially in the fact that I love stealth games. So that's a series that I'm gonna have to try to like revisit at some point. But I want to say I think Thief developers ended up becoming like Dishonored developers.
I was gonna say because the games are very similar.
Yeah,
I've not played the Thief games myself, but I know what style they're in.
Yeah, like one of the big things that kind of brought Thief to my attention back in the day was that they were also IDOS games and IDOS Tomb Raider. So yeah, then
crap, I just remembered. No. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to see. I think that's that was the only comment we got about horror game recommendations. Oh no, sorry, BioPhoenix. He said, he just commented on Police Quest because you had mentioned Police Quest.
Thank you, BioPhoenix. Someone's with me on that game, or any of them. But what was his comment?
He just said that he had totally forgotten about Police Quest, and
well, then I'm glad I could remind you. Go play it. You can get the whole like 10 or I think there was only 4 police quests because then the same guy ended up making SWAT games.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, like you can go on good old games and I think get like every one of them for like $5-6.
Sure,
I don't know if they ever moved to Steam or not because I know they had to be. I know Good Old Games does more work in terms of like older games that don't run on newer operating systems. Because I used to own like the Police Quest 4 pack on CD-ROM, and you're like, okay, CD-ROM, this is good to go, and it would not run on my 2000 box back in the day. I was so disappointing. So I'm like, I want to play Police Quest, and then years later is when someone's like, you can just go to Good Old Gaming. I'm like, what's that? And they're like, oh my god.
Yep. Cool. So then, like I said, thanks for your responses for that. And then again, for next week's community question, what would be your, at least one? I mean, obviously it'd be at least one, but what are some of your like essential PS1 games that you think should be included on the PS1 Classic that are not included?
And you don't have to just stick to one. You can name 20 if you have all 20 ready to go.
Absolutely.
Don't restrain yourself. Be a butterfly. Fly free.
Totally. So then let's just kind of quickly look at the list of upcoming games over the next couple weeks. So interestingly enough, there's one game that I hadn't heard much information about. There's been an interesting trailer. The Quiet Man actually released today. I haven't really. The Quiet Man was shown during E3. I think it was Sony or Square's press conference. It was a live action trailer of some dude just like beating up another dude. It looked like it was basically a FMV game or something.
Okay.
So that is out today. Then the Diablo 3 Eternal Collection for the Switch comes out on the 2nd. Whatever. I fucking love Diablo. I'm not going to buy it on the Switch.
It's not Diablo I'm thinking about. It's the fact I just wait, Blizzard. I guess you probably looked at Bethesda and said, well, you guys have released Skyrim 1,400 times. Why can't we do it to Diablo 3? You know, God forbid we try to make a new Diablo. Let's just keep fucking repackaging the same shit.
Well, they are. They're working on Diablo 4. There's inklings of things.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure it'll come out right before Half-Life 4.
Yeah. But and related to that, they actually just announced a Loot Goblin amiibo, which I pre-ordered earlier today. I have my Diablo stuff. Then we got November 6th for the PSVR is Deracide, which is a PSVR game made by From Software, which there was a trailer during E3. Didn't really have any idea what it was about. Looked like some there was another game that From Software did that people were kind of comparing it to, but that's a thing. Then we also I believe this was actually delayed, so this list is probably incorrect. Overkill's The Walking Dead, which I thought looked actually pretty neat. I think that got delayed. Pretty sure, but this list has it, so maybe it's coming out.
Is that the one that's like the first-person shooter version of Walking Dead?
I think
because there was one on the PC that like was just fucking horrendous.
That was like Survivors or something. I hear that one was garbage. Like this one actually looks really cool.
Oh, okay.
From the initial trailers,
I was like, really? Someone decided to port that? Oh my god! It's ballsy people in the gaming industry,
right? Let's see. We got the right. I think this is just a port. The SNK 40th Anniversary Collection. I think that's just a port to the Switch. But then I think the other notables are the Spyro Reignited Trilogy on the 13th. I thought Fallout 76 was later than November 14th. But this list is at November 14th, which is a game that I'm still really on the fence about. I don't know what to do. If I don't get the collector's edition, I won't get that power armor helmet, but I don't want to buy the game if it's not going to be awesome.
My buddy, I'm having a stroke here. My buddy in real life here, one of my close friends, he played the beta last night, the network test.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, sorry, he played it Tuesday night because I talked to him last night. He said it was a lot of fun, and he kind of alleviated one of my fears about the PvP. Mm-hmm. And I guess the way the PvP works is like someone can come up and shoot you.
Yeah.
But unless you shoot back, they will only do 20% of. It reduces the damage down to 20% only of the value.
I think it's less than that even.
He said 20%. So unless they change it again or something. So, but they can keep pecking at you and they can kill you. But if you do not fire back or even attack in any way, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto 5 where you'll be marked as a murderer and then a bounty's placed on your head and everyone on the map can see you.
Yes,
so it's kind of a nice way to be like, you can fuck with me, but you're going to have the whole fucking server fuck with you then.
Yes.
But then he says if you die in that manner without fighting back, you don't lose any of your junk or your caps. And he said junk is for building your base and caps are caps. But you don't lose any. He goes, and you never, no matter how you die, you never lose any of your equipment. But you can't PvP anybody unless they're level 5 or above. But he said it was really fun. He's like, the co-op was really fun and all that. I'm just like, awesome. I'm going to wait for a little while. I mean, I love Fallout, but...
Yeah. I'm imagine I will probably be getting it just because I am a big Fallout fan. I would wait probably if it wasn't for the collector's edition, but I'm a sap for collector's editions. So if you don't pre-order, you ain't getting it. And I pre-ordered it, and then I was debating if I'd cancel it or not. And I don't think I'm going to cancel it. I think I'm going to stick to my guns. I'd imagine.
What's the price sticker on it?
The collector's edition is $200.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the Pip-Boy edition that was kind of spendy too, but you got a cool Pip-Boy, so you get the helmet. Oh, I don't mean to jump it. Did you hear about the Devil May Cry collector's editions? I'm actually surprised. I didn't even think of it till now. We could put that in topics. Okay, so there's 3 editions that are like the ultimate very low run print that are up to $8,600.
Whoa.
But the reason is because one of the 3 characters in the game, there's one that's like $6,500, one that's like 72, and then the top one's 86. And the reason why is you get a replica coat, a full-size replica coat of one of the characters. So the $8,600 one is the Dante. You get the best part is there's like a deluxe version that gives you a bunch of red souls to level up, start your leveling, and some other equipment. You don't even get the deluxe version in this collector's edition. You just get the coat.
For $8,000?
Yes, for $8,600, you just get a replica Dante leather jacket, or one of the other characters. I mean, but it's a real coat. It's not like in game or anything.
That's a lot of money for a coat. Like even a fancy ass coat. Like, good lord.
Like you could probably get a like Gucci or something like that. Like you say, like some expensive designer coat for way less than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I totally forgot to like talk to you beforehand to talk about it as a topic, but yeah, there's 3 characters in the game, and like I say, it's like the girl's coat, the other guy's coat, and then or Dante's coat.
I mean, there've been other crazy collector's editions.
But
I know
$8,600.
There was one, like, it was within the last couple years. I think there was one that, like, I think there was only one version, and like, or if multiple people ordered it, I don't know. But you got a car, like it was like tens of thousands of dollars, but it like included this car or something. And I think there was one that had like a house too. I can't remember. Yeah, like there's a couple that it was more of a marketing thing, less of like open pre-order sort of thing. I don't know, but I know there was one that came with like a car or something just like ridiculous.
But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the quantities of these coat versions that are like thousands of dollars are like you actually have to contact Capcom, and because they're that limited, like they're probably like you prepay and then we'll tell you you're getting one, because it's not gonna be like, yeah, I'll put down $5 on an $8,600 game.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, like it's for a fucking coat. Like,
well, I mean,
just go find someone who makes costumes for a living and go here's $500, make me a Dante trench coat.
To be fair, this isn't for you. This isn't for me. This isn't for anybody we know. I mean, maybe you know some wealthy people like who have.
This shouldn't even be for someone who just won that $900 million Mega Millions lotto. Like, it shouldn't even be for them.
No, they're not those. Yeah, this is for what they call the whales, the people who have pretty much unlimited funds and they pretty much can do whatever the hell they want.
I mean, to have that kind of disposable income, to be like, yeah, I own one of the Dante Trenchcoat limited editions that doesn't come with the deluxe version. Like, oh god,
yeah.
I don't know if that was a close friend that had that kind of money and bought that, I don't know that I wouldn't slap the shit out of them. Just be like, you get one pimp slap to the face.
Well, the person that can afford to buy that, like, I mean, obviously, like, it's no sweat off their brow. Because that's
it's not the money they spent that would bother me. It's the fact that they would try to show it off like, hey, you want to see something cool that you won't see before? Check this out.
What about people with their fucking Gucci whatever and all that? Like half these rappers, like
Yeah, but that's a fashion statement. Like you can't. I guarantee you. Okay, let's say you bought this for whatever reason. You couldn't walk around a mall with a Dante trench coat. Someone's gonna go, dude, cool, you bought the collector's. No, people are gonna be like, well, that's with the really fucking weird red trench coat.
Yeah, it doesn't have a Gucci logo on it.
Yeah, it's not recognizable by any other. But I mean, like I could see someone spending a good chunk of money to get like a world championship Nintendo cart, because that's like historic. There's such a limited quantity of them, or having like a complete in box little Samson, or something like that, and be like, wow, that's impressive. To go look at that trench coat.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm that's just me. I'm rambling. I apologize, but yeah, oh god.
So then one other game that I just wanted to mention before we wrap things up here is I haven't heard much about this, but when I saw some things, I thought it looked pretty interesting. A game called Underworld Ascendant, and essentially it kind of looks like something like along the lines of, I'd say more of like Might and Magic Dark Messiah, kind of like your first person, kind of like Skyrim or something. More linear. Dark Messiah is like a game that I think is like sorely underrated. Made by the guys who made Dishonored. So worth checking out. It's called Underworld Ascendant. for anybody who kind of digs the
Wasn't-
first person like RPGs.
I thought Dark Messiah was like the third person one that was like really shitty out of those.
No, Dark Messiah was first person, and it was fantastic.
Is the cover of the art like a guy with a ponytail and you're seeing him from the back?
No, the cover is like, I think the cover for Dark Messiah has like an orc on it or something.
Are you sure that's not the shitty one? I thought that was the shitty one.
Definitely, Dark Messiah is definitely not the shitty one.
Okay, because I know there was one that they did like a third person one where it was kind of plays. Yeah, it was just like people are like, it is terrible. So, okay.
No, Steam Dark Messiah has a 9 out of 10. Metacritic, for whatever that matters, like has it as 72 though. But no, Dark Messiah it is an awesome game. Arcane Studios, like I said, they pretty much it was the precursor to Dishonored. Had some really neat things in it. It was when I first played Dark Messiah, I'd gotten it because I bought a graphics card, and once in a while graphics cards like would come with games as just kind of like bonuses, and that came with it. And I was like, I know nothing about this game. I got it for free. Let's check it out. Next thing I knew, I'd beaten it, and I was like, holy shit, that game was sweet. Uses the Source engine, had some fun combat, like a really interesting like split in the story where you can kind of like take a light or dark route, depending on what you do with this character. No, cool game. But yeah. So that is it for most notable games, I think, in the next couple weeks. So with that, then what you got going on in the next couple weeks?
Oh boy. Probably a little more cleaning up on Symphony of the Night on the PS4. Got a Halloween party this weekend and helping a friend move. And then I saw that there is one of the games that's coming out. I don't know when. I just happened to see on the Facebook scrolling that a game's coming on the Switch called Fallen Legion, which I luckily happened to have downloaded on my PS4 during one of the Sony sales, one of their like RPGs. So I picked it up for like, I think $4 or $5.
Cool.
And
limited run version of it.
They're like, hey, if you liked Valkyrie Profile, you'll love this game. And I was like, sweet. So I might dig into some of that this weekend. But I got to try to dig into some more Dragon Quest. I feel bad that I was like, oh my God, you're never going to see me for 2 weeks while I play this game. And I'm like, I'm lame. So I got to get on that.
I think things really like kind of pick up like a little later in the story. I know a lot of people complain and be like, oh, I shouldn't have to play 20 hours of a game to get into it or whatever. But when you got like 100-hour RPG, like, sometimes you gotta give it a little room to like stretch its legs. Kind of.
Don't get me wrong. I'm loving. I just made it to the Desert Kingdom or something where where the horse races are going on, which I know is by far not anywhere near as far as I should be. For how excited I was about this game, but you're
probably at like
1/15 of the game.
Yeah, 15 hours maybe 10 hours.
I mean, I have more time on that because I will say. It was the first zone I ran into metal slimes, so I spent like 2-3 hours grinding.
Sure.
Because I'm like, ooh, I can finally use these metal killing abilities I've been.
Yes.
Because I've played enough Dragon Quest where I'm like, yeah, when you encounter them early in any Dragon Quest, they ended up either running away from you or you just can't do enough damage to kill them before they run away. So I'm like, I take the metal killing abilities because I love that. Like, hey, you know how you're only getting like 100 experience? Here's 8,000. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
There's actually kind of I guess it's a way to
island.
Kind of abuse, not an island. It's a way to abuse the system with some of the pet powers at a certain point in the game where you can use this pet power that basically swaps the enemies for metal slime enemies of various forms depending on your level.
So like metal babbles and stuff too.
Metal slime king, metal slime. I forget what the puddle slimes are.
Babbles.
Okay, yeah,
metal babble.
And essentially, like this is basically like late game power leveling where it might take you 10-15 minutes to complete this battle to do to like build up the pet powers and then do all the stuff. But I mean, you can get like, I think one of the battles where I got really lucky because those fucking slimes always run away. Like,
well, all metal creatures typically run away.
So you can get lucky sometimes and they won't. It's like, yes, they attacked me. Ha. But this one battle, I got like fucking like 500,000 experience. I gained like 7 levels and shit. Yes, I spent like, an hour and a half, and I gained like 20, 30 levels. I was like, yes, this is I can live with this. I didn't need to, but I was like, yeah, this is fine. Because there's just the gains. But yeah, not to sidetrack what you had going on. Anything else?
Like I say, any beyond that, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and obviously Final Fantasy 14, because I'm lame.
I think that's cool.
Oh, thanks.
So for me, next couple weeks, actually, for any longtime listeners, you might be familiar with one of the previous co-hosts, Jason Corpse Flood Gaming, good friend of mine. He's actually coming down from Canada next weekend to hang out for the weekend. We're actually main event is a metal concert. He is stoked to see At the Gates. I'm not super familiar with At the Gates, but it's At the Gates in Behemoth. So we're gonna go check that out. We're probably gonna maybe do some gaming. I'd imagine he's probably gonna want to hit up some game shops and stuff. It will be a great time. His wife's coming down too. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And then besides that, mostly just Red Dead Redemption. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it in the next couple weeks, but if I do, I don't know what else I'll play. But once I finish it, I'll probably check out Fallout 76, I'm guessing, or maybe Tomb Raider or Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't know. I might try to squeeze in something short, maybe knock out a few short games or something. I don't know. We'll see. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is plenty for me right now.
Excelente.
Yeah. So then I just want to let everybody listening know how they can get a hold of us. Of course, the podcast is on SoundCloud. If you're on SoundCloud, all the links to everything is there. Of course, the podcast is on YouTube, iTunes, any podcast app that you use. Just look up the Game Tenants Podcast and you will find us. And then you can look me up on YouTube as The Game Grinder. Also, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as The Game Grinder. If you want to get a hold of Justin, go ahead and just leave a comment on the YouTube video or let me know and I can pass it along.
Some of you have already got a contact. Black Metal Gamer, he done friended me on Facebook, and he likes to post a lot. But he posts really funny stuff, so
lots of memes.
Oh yeah, that boy's the meme king.
He's and no holds bar, like
that's what I'm saying. Like the stuff he finds, I'm just like, where do people find this stuff? Like I cannot find this crap, and I'm like, I need to find some like weird, disgusting but funny memes. I'm like, so these people know where to find this crap. I do.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, he's younger. He's a lot younger. So like some of the memes he's into are, kind of out of my general realm of things that I find funny, but just like, man, some of these millennials, as I call them, they're funny. They're funny.
Well, they better be.
Yeah, and just like where the hell are you getting these memes? Like, it's weird. Some of the shit's just super weird, super shocking, but it's funny. I like this. Memes are lifeblood.
Oh God, yeah. If I can chuckle, it was a good day. Yes,
absolutely. So then, with that said, that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. As always, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Peace.
See ya.